Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the really powerful story of Neisha Berry. It's a journey that starts with a baffling illness and ends with a remarkable recovery. And along the way, it shines a bright light on one of today's most talked about diets.
And this is where her story really begins. Not with a diet, but with just sheer fear. This quote, I think it captures the absolute terror Neisha was feeling as her own body and mind started to fail her. It's what set her on this desperate search for answers.
So, let's start at the beginning. The first chapter of Neisha's crisis. A mysterious illness that just seemed to come out of nowhere.
Okay, picture this. You're 27 years old, you're a nurse, you've always been that person who could eat pretty much whatever you wanted without gaining a pound. You are, for all intents and purposes, the picture of health. And then, all of a sudden, your entire life gets turned upside down.
You know, it wasn't just one thing. It was like a complete system failure. An unexplained 40-pound weight gain in a really short time. Her hair got so thin she could actually see her scalp in the sun. The brain fog was so crippling she had trouble even forming a sentence. And on top of all that, there was chronic pain and constant panic attacks. She said she felt like a total stranger in her own body.
So, with her health in a total freefall, she did what any of us would do. She turned to the medical system. And this next part of her journey, well, it turned into a really frustrating search for answers.
And this is where you can see the huge disconnect she was up against. Doctors saw a young woman who had recently been through a divorce, and they pretty much just told her, oh, it's just stress. They prescribed anti-anxiety meds. But Neisha knew her reality was completely different. She kept insisting, things in my life are better than they've ever been. I should not be feeling this way.
This, right here, became her mantra. Even though her lab results were coming back normal at first, she and her partner, Dr. Ken Berry, refused to give up. They just kept digging, suspecting it wasn't just stress, but a specific autoimmune disease, Hashimoto's. And you know what? A fertility specialist later confirmed they were right.
So here's the turning point. Conventional wisdom wasn't giving her any solutions. So Neisha decided it was time for a radical experiment, one that was going to change everything.
For anyone who's not familiar with it, she turned to what's known as the carnivore diet. At its core, it's basically the ultimate elimination diet. You remove all the plant-based foods and focus only on animal products, just to see how your body responds.
But she didn't just jump in head first. It was a gradual process of discovery for her. First, she tried what she calls lazy keto and started feeling better in just a week. That gave her the confidence to try a short run on full carnivore, and the results were even more dramatic. And that led to the final test, a strict 90-day commitment.
So what could possibly motivate someone to make such a strict commitment? Well, her why was everything. She and her husband were about to start IVF, and they only had one chance, a single viable egg. She was absolutely determined to do whatever it took to make her body the healthiest possible home for that baby.
And this 90-day commitment, it led to the most dramatic part of her story, the transformation.
The first huge change happened unbelievably fast. That number, 2, that's how many days it took. After struggling with insomnia for 5 years, just 2 days into her first carnivore trial, she slept all the way through the night. It was the very first sign that, as she put it, there's something to this.
And this number, 90, well, that represents the culmination of all that focused effort. After 90 days on a strict, high-fat carnivore diet, the IVF procedure was a success. I mean, she had literally put all her eggs in one basket, and it actually worked.
But the story doesn't even end there. Years later, after believing it was totally impossible, she got pregnant with her second child, naturally. She credits this absolute miracle to fully healing her body, saying she had finally made it feel safe enough to get pregnant again.
Okay, so this last section isn't about promoting a specific diet for everyone. It's about distilling Neisha's hard-won wisdom, principles that really anyone can think about for their own health journey. According to Neisha, when people try this way of eating and just don't feel well, it often comes down to a few key mistakes. They might jump into fasting too soon, or maybe they overdo it on dairy. But the number one problem she sees? People not eating nearly enough fat. In this quote right here, it captures the principle she learned was absolutely essential for her. She found that just eating lean meat wasn't enough. Her body needed that fat to really thrive. She says fatty meat is what heals the brain and is critical for getting your hormones right.
So after using Carnivore as that reset button, she developed this really simple but powerful traffic light system to reintroduce foods and personalize her diet. Green foods are her go-tos. Yellow foods are okay once in a while, and red foods like the turnip greens that gave her a full-body pain reaction are a hard no.
And that really leads to her core philosophy. It's not about being dogmatic or getting attached to some label like carnivore or keto. It's about being radically honest with yourself and just listening to what your body is telling you. It's that simple.
So if you strip away all the details about the specific foods, the diets, all of it, what is the one central idea that her entire incredible story points to?
This is the ultimate lesson. More than just a story about diet, Neisha's journey is a powerful call to action, to do your own research, to question things, to experiment, and ultimately to trust your own experience and become the #1 expert on the one thing nobody else can ever truly know, your own body.